What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shuggy from Shook Earth Media, and today we're having some fun with AI. We're using ChatGPT to predict the upcoming Walking Dead spinoffs. Now, for those who aren't aware, ChatGPT, it's a chatbot that you can talk to that summarizes stuff from the internet, and you can ask it to write scenes and write poems and all types of stuff like that. So we're going to use ChatGPT today to try to predict what's going to happen in the upcoming spin-offs for The Walking Dead this year, and we're just going to see if it's right or not. We'll see when the shows come out how close it gets to reality. So we got the Rick Grimes spin-off up here first. I said, write a summary of a spin-off of The Walking Dead that reveals Rick Grimes' fate after departing the series in Season 9. Michonne searches for Rick, and Rick tries to escape the powerful tyrannical group known as the CRM. Now, ChatGPT doesn't have access to the most up-to-date information. I believe they only have access to information from 2021 onwards, so I wasn't exactly sure how much of The Walking Dead it would have access to. So that's why I explained some of the premise here, and I don't know if it even knows about the spinoffs existing yet. So that's why I fed it a little bit. But you'll see in this chat log that ChatGPT does know some things about the show. So the spinoff for The Walking Dead, titled The Walking Dead Rick's Search, follows Michonne as she embarks on a journey to find her lost long friend, Rick Grimes. Now, obviously the word friend there, I don't know if ChatGPT knows that they started a family together. The series reveals that Rick was taken away in a helicopter by the Civic Republic military, CRM, after being severely injured in a bridge explosion. So you can see based on this, they know what CRM stands for, and they know about the bridge explosion. You'll notice I did not tell it that in my prompt. So it's completely getting that from a Wikipedia article or something like that. Maybe the Walking Dead wiki page. As Michonne sets out on her search for Rick, she encounters various groups of survivors and struggles to survive in a world overrun by walkers. Notice it knows that they're called walkers and not zombies. Meanwhile, Rick finds himself trapped in the CRM's heavily guarded compound, where he discovers the group is led by a powerful and tyrannical leader. So I think this chat log is saying that we're going to see what happened to Rick in the meantime. So I hope so. Anyway, as he tries to escape, Rick forms an unlikely alliance with a group of CRM insiders who are planning a revolt against their leader. Now, this to me makes a lot of sense, especially given how World Beyond ended. We had a group of scientists who defected from the CRM, and now they've discovered the truth about some of the shady things the CRM was doing, and now they are working outside of the CRM to try to oppose what's going on. And honestly, that's pretty much the only way the story can go. So I think ChatGPT's got it on this one. Together, they must navigate the dangerous terrain of CRM compound while avoiding the wrath of its ruthless leader and his loyal followers. So they're saying the leader is a man, which I think it is based on World Beyond, which I'm not sure if they would know that. ChatGPT, that is. Ultimately, Michonne and Rick's paths cross as they work together to take down the CRM and free its prisoners. The series ends with Rick and Michonne reunited, but with the knowledge that their world is still fraught with danger and uncertainty. So I think that ChatGPT is saying the CRM is not going to be defeated in this series and that the storyline will continue on. I think that that's probably how it's going to go. I think this series is kind of another setup for a big kind of climactic event where they're going to have kind of an end game type of thing, like the Avengers, where there's one final showdown with a lot of the main cast from the original series coming back, fighting back against the CRM. Commonwealth versus CRM, I think that's where we're headed. That's just my opinion on the universe overall. So I said, name some potential titles for this series. The rumored one, apparently the working title is Summit. And you'll notice that it did not say Summit. So the ChatGPT is not aware of that. The Walking Dead Rick's Search. They also said up here, The Walking Dead Rick's Search. So that's one that they really like that one. 2, Searching for Rick. 3, The Rick Grimes Chronicles. This is a title I think would actually be pretty good. Escape from the CRM. Rick's Rebellion. The Rescuers. Rick and Michonne. The Walking Dead Behind Enemy Lines. The Lost and Found, The Rick Grimes Story, Too many thes, but you get the idea. The Walking Dead, Prisoners of the CRM. Rick's Redemption. I don't know what he needs redeemed from, but, these are fun titles. It's got the alliteration going. What are some explanations for why Rick Grimes has been away from his family for so long? That's, of course, the main question that a lot of us are going to be wondering is why hasn't he come back yet? We saw, of course, in the series finale that Rick Grimes was trying to escape. And, of course, unless he has complete memory loss or is completely brainwashed, that is, of course, his goal. So it would be weird if he didn't try to do that. In the TV series The Walking Dead, Rick Grimes was taken away in a helicopter by the Civic Republic military after being severely injured in a bridge explosion. This event happened in Season 9 of The Walking Dead. So they know all that, from the Wikipedia page. As for possible explanations as to why Rick has been away from his family for so long, here are some possibilities. Rick was taken away to a remote location by the CRM and was not able to contact his family. So that makes sense. He doesn't know where he is. 2, Rick has been held captive by the CRM and was not able to escape. I don't think that those are different, but that's fine. 3, Rick has been on the run from the CRM and has not been able to find his way back to his family. So these are, this is like he has escaped and hasn't been able to get back yet for some reason, which, we know that that's not the case as of yet. Well, he did try to escape and then he was captured again. So, 4, the CRM has been using Rick's skills and knowledge to further their own agenda. We know that from World Beyond that they have been, he was a very valuable asset to the CRM for some reason. We're not sure why exactly, but presumably he's helping them out in some way. And he has not been able to leave their compound. 5, Rick may have suffered from amnesia or memory loss and was not able to remember his family or past life. Now, this would be a very convenient plot thing. It's one of my pet peeves. We talked about it on the channel before, so I'm not going to get too deep into that. But I do think that that's not the case right now because we saw that scene in the series finale. It is important to note that these are just speculations, and the actual explanation for Rick's absence from his family may be revealed in the upcoming spin-off series. I hope so. And then I told it to write the first scene. And the funny part is that it got flagged by their content policy because it's talking about killing zombies. And apparently that's a no-go for OpenAI, even though it's literally what I asked it to do. So fade in, which, note to upcoming screenwriters, never write fade in, okay? That's you directing for the director. The director is going to decide whether there's a fade in. The only time you need to write transitions is if it's vitally important to the plot, okay? That's something that the editor and the director are going to decide. Don't write fade in. That's just a little tip for upcoming screenwriters. The camera opens on a dense forest with trees towering high above. The camera slowly moves forward and we hear the rustling of leaves and twigs underfoot. Suddenly, Michonne comes into view, walking with purpose through the woods, her sword strapped to her back. I think it's cool they know that she's got a sword, I like that. She stops suddenly, listening to the sound of something in the distance. Michonne moves off the path and through the underbrush, and the camera follows her closely. As she approaches a clearing, she sees a group of walkers feasting on a deer carcass. I'm guessing that this is like the word carcass and talking about blood and rotting flesh, that this is what got it flagged by the policy. Michonne unsheathes her sword and moves in for the kill. The scene cuts back and forth between Michonne's swift and deadly strikes and the gruesome close-ups of the walker's rotting flesh. So we got some interesting things here that are worth noting. A grammatical error. This is a comma that doesn't need to be there. I'm just saying this because it's a machine. I normally wouldn't bother critiquing it to this detail, but just because it's a machine, I think it's interesting. You only want to put a comma before and if it's a complete clause at the end. So the gruesome close-ups of the walker's rotting flesh, that's a fragment. It's not a sentence in and of itself, so you wouldn't put a comma here. I just think it's worth noting. Also, you wouldn't want to say how the scene is going to be shot or cut in a script. That's not something that a screenwriter should do. Again, you're directing for the director. As she finishes dispatching the last walker, Michonne takes a deep breath and looks around, scanning the area for other threats. She wipes the blood off her sword and continues her journey. After a few moments, Michonne comes to a stop and takes out a map from her backpack. She studies it for a moment before folding it up and putting it away. We can see the determination etched on her face. Michonne, to herself, I'm getting closer, Rick. Hang in there. The camera zooms out and we see Michonne, small in the frame, walking alone through the vast forest, fade to black. So it's a very generic scene, but I thought it was fun. I thought it was especially interesting that it got flagged by the policy, but it doesn't take into account how Michonne left the series, how she was with a group. So that's kind of interesting. So next we got Dead City. I, of course, also fed ChatGPT the upcoming spinoff for Maggie and Negan. And I just told it that they're traveling to New York City to free Maggie's son Herschel, who's been kidnapped by a former associate of Negan's. I believe that is the basic premise of the show. So the spin-off series of The Walking Dead follows Maggie and Negan. That's just summarizing what I already said. The story begins with the revelation that Herschel has been kidnapped by a former associate of Negan's who seeks revenge for Negan's past actions. So that's giving a motivation for the villain to kidnap Herschel. And I think that's the only thing that really makes sense. So especially since we know in the trailers, Negan is the key to saving him. So it's got to be related somehow. Maggie and Negan reluctantly team up to save Herschel despite their past conflicts. Their journey takes them through dangerous post-apocalyptic landscape where they encounter new groups of survivors and face various challenges. It's very generic. You love to see it. Along the way, they learn more about each other and come to understand the complexities of their relationship. I'm on record as saying if they hook up in the show, I'm done with The Walking Dead. I'm done. I'm never watching it again, bro. As they get closer to New York City, the stakes get higher and Maggie and Negan must use their wits and survival skills to overcome obstacles and rescue Herschel. The series explores themes of redemption, forgiveness, and the lengths that parents will go to protect their children. I think this is a pretty much spot on. You know, I think that the idea of Negan redeeming himself is definitely something they explored already in season 11. And I do think we're going to see Negan kind of revert back to his old ways, and we're going to see those storylines come back up again. And also, Maggie herself has gotten more and more ruthless as the show has gone on. She did kind of manage to partially forgive Negan, but they're at an impasse because she can't go any further than I don't want to kill you anymore. That's as far as she's willing to go. So I'm really curious to see that play out. Ultimately, Maggie and Negan succeed in their mission, but not without enduring significant losses and facing the harsh reality of the new world they inhabit. The spinoff provides fresh perspective on the Walking Dead universe, featuring compelling characters and a new setting, while still remaining true to the original show's themes and spirit. So there we go. Some potential titles: Maggie and Negan's Journey, The Redemption Road, a Walking Dead story, The New York Chronicles, a Walking Dead spinoff, The Last Hope, Maggie and Negan's Quest. This one sounds like a fantasy or something. Herschel's Rescue, a Walking Dead adventure, Surviving the City, a Walking Dead saga, Negan and Maggie's Odyssey, The Walking Dead, A Mother's Vengeance. I like this one. Beyond the Dead, Maggie and Negan's Quest for Herschel. It sounds so silly, man. The Walking Dead, Escape from New York. This one was probably on their board of potential names. You know, originally it was supposed to be Isle of the Dead. Now we know it's called Dead City. I bet Escape from New York was on their list. I guarantee it. Right, the opening scene to this series. The screen fades in to reveal a wide shot of a desolate, post-apocalyptic landscape. The camera pans over abandoned cars, decaying buildings, and overgrown streets. The sky is dark and ominous, and the sound of distant growls and moans fills the air. As the camera continues to pan, a figure comes into view. It's Maggie, walking alone down the deserted road. She looks tired and worn out, but determined. She's carrying a backpack and a machete, and her face is set in a determined expression. Suddenly, a rustling in the bushes nearby startles Maggie. She grips her machete tightly and turns to face the source of the noise. After a moment of tense silence, a figure emerges from the bushes. It's Negan. Maggie and Negan lock eyes, both surprised and wary. A long pause as they stare at each other, sizing each other up. Finally, Maggie speaks. "What are you doing here?" she demands. Negan raises his hands in a gesture of surrender. "I could ask you the same thing." Maggie narrows her eyes. "I don't trust you." Negan sighs. "I don't blame you," he admits. "But we have a common goal now. Your son, Herschel, has been taken. I know who did it, and I know how to find them." Maggie hesitates, considering Negan's words. After a beat, she nods. "Okay, She says, "Let's go." The most basic dialogue ever, and just really expositionary. Is that the word? I don't know, but I think it's kind of funny that we see a similar scene in the teaser that was just released, except Maggie is kidnapping Negan, so he's handcuffed, and there's somebody else walking with Negan. That I'm not sure if that's his wife or who that is, but yeah, I just think that's a funny scene that they wrote. I want to ask it, come up with some potential characters for this series. Okay, we'll come back to that. We'll let it generate, and then we'll come back to it. Right now, we're looking at the upcoming Daryl Dixon show. I mentioned that he wakes up in France, no memory of how he got there, and the series will explore the origin of the zombie outbreak and will feature variant zombies that are faster and stronger than the zombies we know. So the show explores, it basically just kind of parrots back to me what I said to it. And then it says, the series will likely focus on Daryl's journey to uncover the truth behind the outbreak and find a way to survive in this new world. With a new location and faster, more dangerous zombies, the series promises to offer a fresh take on the classic zombie genre, while still delivering the heart-pumping action and suspense that fans of The Walking Dead have come to expect. So this is pretty much just, it doesn't really say anything about what's actually going to happen. It just, gives me a bunch of marketing speak, basically, which makes sense because that's probably most of what they see when they look up The Walking Dead, So, name some potential titles. The Walking Dead Origins, Daryl's Journey. Now, this is actually, I'm pretty sure they did a series called The Walking Dead Origins. That was just kind of like a clip show mixed with interviews. I didn't actually watch it, but they did one for a bunch of characters. I think that might actually be a title from there. Lost in France, A Walking Dead Story. The New Breed, A Walking Dead Tale. Daryl's Odyssey, A Walking Dead Adventure. Outbreak in Paris, A Walking Dead spinoff. I don't think that's in the title. Daryl's Descent. Ooh, we got the alliteration, bro. I like that. Daryl's Descent, A Walking Dead Evolution. That's clever because it's got the evolving zombies. I actually like this one. This is a good title right here. Rise of the Zombies, Daryl's Story. That one's actually the closest to what we're hearing. The rumor is that this show is going to be called Raise the Dead. In relation to, of course, the origin of the zombie virus, which is hinted at in The World Beyond series finale. And also, apparently, there's going to be a prominently featured church in the series. So, Raise the Dead, obviously, a reference to the biblical apocalypse, essentially. Raise the Dead is a clever spin on that. So, I'm pretty sure that hasn't been announced, and that that's the working title, and they probably need to clear it, with their lawyers and stuff like that. So that's why it hasn't been announced yet. Beyond Borders, A Walking Dead Chronicle. Daryl's Escape, A Walking Dead Expedition. Walking Among the Undead, Daryl's Discovery. That one's a little silly. So I asked it, how did Daryl get to France? And then it tells me that it doesn't have access to information beyond what was in the original prompt. So I said, what are some possible ways it could have gotten to France? So if you ask it definitively, it's going to try to give you the true answer. And since we don't know, it's not going to tell me what it is. So I asked it, what are some possibilities? And it said, Daryl may have been part of a group that was trying to escape the zombie outbreak in the US. They may have boarded a plane or ship and ended up in France. Now this, I don't think, is what's going to happen. Daryl could have been captured and taken to France by a group or organization that is trying to find a cure for the zombie outbreak. This, I believe, is the CRM. We already know they're trying to work on a cure. They're trying to work on a way to eradicate zombies, and they're also, of course, developing bioweapons to fight their enemies. So I think that the most likely answer is that Daryl gets kidnapped by the CRM and taken to France for some reason. And then ChatGPT says perhaps they believe Daryl has some unique immunity or knowledge that could help them in their quest. Now, immunity storyline, we know that's going to be Fear the Walking Dead with Alicia and, of course, Madison. So those are the characters that are getting the immunity storyline. So it's not... But I like that it's trying to come up with a reason why Daryl, And I'm assuming they have some type of leverage over him, but my thing is, like, why are they sending Daryl, who's somebody who's not loyal to the CRM? Why wouldn't they send somebody who is loyal to their cause already? Somebody that is already working for them? I don't know if they got some leverage on Daryl. Maybe they kidnapped somebody Daryl cares about. But I mean, if the CRM knows about the Commonwealth, they're already trying to get in there. So I don't really know why they would pick Daryl. So I'm still really like, I don't even know how they can possibly justify the France thing, but we'll see. Daryl could have been on a mission for the U.S. government or some other organization that sent him to France to investigate the zombie outbreak there. See, that would honestly make more sense, but there's no government entity. And it could make sense if the Commonwealth was like, hey, we're going to do an exposition to Europe. Daryl may have been involved in a car accident or some traumatic event that caused him to lose his memory and wake up in France. We already know they're doing convenient amnesia. It's a pet peeve of mine. I don't like convenient amnesia. It's not very common in the real world, so it kind of drives me nuts. We see it in movies so often. So I'm going to be critiquing that in my reviews of the show. But yeah, I think it's funny that they're saying, oh, he got in a car accident in the U.S., and that means he's going to wake up in France. Like, it's not an explanation for what I asked it, which is pretty funny. Daryl could have been part of a secret experiment or program that involves transporting individuals to other countries or alternate dimensions in order to study the zombie outbreak and find a cure. Now, it makes sense to me that the CRM, with its vast resources, would be interested in trying to go to France, especially if they found some evidence that the zombie outbreak started there, which it seemed to be the implication of the World Beyond series finale. They had a graffiti on the wall in that scene that said the dead started here or something. I forget exactly what it said, but something to that effect. And so that it makes sense. But why Daryl though? Why would they send Daryl? I don't understand. So I asked it to write the opening scene. As the camera pans across the desolate streets of Paris, the eerie silence is broken only by the sound of Daryl Dixon's labored breathing. Did I say Daryl Dixon? So it does know. Yeah, no, I did say Daryl Dixon. Okay, it knows that from me. He is running frantically, his eyes darting around in fear as he tries to make sense of the chaos that surrounds him. Abandoned cars and buildings line the streets, and in the distance, Daryl can see what looks like a group of people moving towards him. Daryl tries to call out to them, but his voice is hoarse and weak. As the figures get closer, he realizes with horror that they are not people at all, but rather a group of flesh-eating zombies. Daryl stumbles and falls. This is the most generic shit ever. I mean, it's an AI. Of course it's going to be generic. His back hitting the pavement hard as zombies close in on him. In a last-ditch effort to defend himself, Daryl reaches for a nearby pipe and swings it at the closest zombie. As the creature goes down, Daryl scrambles to his feet and takes off running again. He sprints through the deserted streets of Paris, the sounds of its pursuers echoing behind him. Finally, as he turns a corner, Daryl sees a way out, an open door leading into a nearby building. With renewed energy, he charges towards the door, hoping against hope. What does that mean? Hoping against hope? That he can escape the clutches of the zombie horde. As he slams the door shut behind him, Daryl takes a deep breath and tries to steady himself, but as he looks around, he realizes with shock that he has no memory of how he got here or what is happening. All he knows is that he is in a foreign land surrounded by danger, and he has to find a way to escape. Okay, so create some possible characters for this series. All right, let's go back to the Dead City one. It said hers. That's it. That's all it said. Oh, you know what? That's why. I have to stay on the tab or it's not going to generate. Okay. Possible character number 1, Marie, a survivor who has been living in France since the zombie outbreak began. Marie is tough, resourceful, and has a no-nonsense attitude towards anyone who gets in her way. Jacques, a French soldier who has been tasked with protecting the remaining survivors in Paris. Jacques is a skilled fighter and strategist, but his loyalty to his country and his people may put him at odds with Daryl and other foreign survivors. Oh, wow, there's a lot. Oh, wow, they're giving me a lot. Okay. Isabel, a scientist, trying to find a cure for the zombie outbreak. She's intelligent and methodical, but her single-minded focus on her work may blind her to the dangers around her. Sounds like a couple scientists we've had in the show already. Max, a charismatic survivor who's always on the lookout for his next score. Max is quick-witted and resourceful, but his selfishness and willingness to take risk could put others in danger. Leia, oh no, not another Leia. A teenage survivor who has been on her own since the outbreak began. Street smart and resilient, but her youth and inexperience may make her vulnerable. Pierre, a French businessman who managed to survive by using his resources and connections. That sounds like an interesting idea. His willingness to do whatever it takes can make him a dangerous ally or a deadly enemy. Francois, a former police officer who's taken it upon himself to protect the strangers in his neighborhood. He's loyal and courageous, but his PTSD from his time in the force may make him unpredictable in high-pressure situations. I'm pretty sure the PTSD from the zombie apocalypse would be worse, but I could be wrong. Yvette, a survivor who has taken refuge in a church and become de facto leader of the community there. This sounds like we know there's going to be a church, and I don't know, that'd be hilarious if the character actually was named Yvette. She's kind and compassionate, but faith and adherence to tradition may clash with more practical concerns of other survivors. Matthew, a French chef who has managed to keep his culinary skills alive in the midst of the zombie apocalypse. He's eccentric and creative, but his obsession with food so goofy, man. Ali, a young Muslim man who has been forced to confront his faith and his beliefs in the wake of the zombie apocalypse. Ali is thoughtful and introspective, but his adherence to religion could make him a target for others who do not share his beliefs. That's interesting. All right, let's regenerate this. Let's see what it comes up with. Herschel Jr., Maggie's kidnapped son who serves as the catalyst. He's a young boy with a strong will and a determined spirit. Derek, the former associate of Negan's who kidnapped Herschel. He's a dangerous and ruthless survivor who is willing to do anything to get revenge on Negan. Ava, a survivor that Maggie and Negan meet on their journey. She's a tough and strong, independent woman who has managed to survive on her own for many years. Carlos, the leader of a group of survivors that Maggie and Negan encounter. He's a charismatic and savvy survivor who is determined to protect his people. Dr. Martin, a scientist that has been studying the virus that caused the apocalypse. That seems to be like their go-to. We always need a scientist. He's a brilliant mind who may hold the key to finding a cure. Okay, a young survivor who joins Maggie and Negan on their journey. This is Felix. He is eager to prove himself. Okay, Harper, a tough-as-nails survivor who's been living in New York City since the outbreak. She's fiercely strong, independent woman who doesn't take kindly to outsiders. Ray, a former soldier who's been leading a group of survivors in New York City. He's a skilled fighter and strategist who's determined to keep his people safe. Maria, she's kind and compassionate. Victor, he's dangerous and unpredictable, a skilled fighter, willing to do whatever it takes to survive, even if it means betraying others. Okay, so that's pretty interesting. Last thing I want to do before the end of this video, I had it spit out a bunch of potential Walking Dead spinoffs. I think this might be a fun look. Brainstorm concepts for Walking Dead spinoffs after the end of the final season. 1. Rise of the New World. This spinoff could explore the aftermath of the final season and how the survivors rebuild and create a new world from the ashes of the old one. It'll focus on challenges of forming a new society, including issues of governance, resource allocation, and the potential threats posed by remaining walkers and other dangers. So that's just basically, if you're going to do that, that's just like, why not season 12? The Walking Dead Origins. This spinoff could delve into the backstory of some of the most beloved characters from the original series, offering insights into their lives before the outbreak and shedding light on how they became the people they are today. So this would be what the Tales of the Walking Dead was supposed to be, basically. The Walking Dead Lost. This spinoff could follow a group of survivors who became separated from the main group and must find their way back to safety while facing a host of new challenges. This is what Fear the Walking Dead should have been. You know, with of course Morgan leaving, he should have immediately been like, hey, I know a place that's safe and we should try to head back there as soon as possible. I get helping people is nice and everything, but you can't help people if you can't help yourself, you know? So, strength in numbers and all that. The Walking Dead Beyond. World Beyond. Pretty close. This spinoff could explore new regions and territories that the survivors have yet to discover, offering a fresh perspective on the zombie apocalypse and the struggles of those trying to survive in a world that has been forever changed. The Walking Dead Next Generation. Now, you might have seen my video on the original ending that they filmed for the Walking Dead series finale. They originally did a scene with the children of some of the main characters. We had Herschel there. I think Herschel was there. We definitely had Judith grown up. We had RJ, Rick Jr., grown up. So these kids were traveling together, and I think Aaron's adopted daughter was there too. So they were trying to find Rick or something. I don't know. They were going back into Atlanta for some reason. So that was the original ending of The Walking Dead. So it sounds like this might be in the works, honestly, this concept here. This spinoff could focus on the children and teenagers who have grown up in the aftermath of the apocalypse, exploring how they adapt to a world where danger is ever present and the future is uncertain. The Walking Dead, Surviving Together. This spinoff could take a more lighthearted approach on the apocalypse, focusing on the relationships and dynamics between the survivors as they try to rebuild their lives and form a new community. Sounds like what Fear the Walking Dead Season 5 was supposed to be. The Walking Dead Aftermath. This could explore the long-term consequences of the outbreak, including the psychological toll it has taken on those who have survived and the impact it has had on the wider world. That's pretty much what The Walking Dead main show is about, so I don't know. The Walking Dead Evolution. This spinoff could follow the ongoing evolution of the walkers themselves, exploring how they continue to adapt and change over time and the new threats they pose to survivors. See, this is interesting because this is what they're doing. They got the Daryl spinoff with, of course, the new walkers. They had in the final season of the main show itself, they had the climbing walkers. So this is what they're doing, man. ChatGPT somehow knows that. The Walking Dead Redemption. This spinoff could focus on the journey of one or more characters who made mistakes or suffered losses in the past and are now seeking to make amends and find new purpose in the post-apocalyptic world. This sounds like what Dead City's going to be about. The Walking Dead Endgame. See, I fucking told you guys. This spinoff could offer a definitive inclusion to the series, bringing together all of the major characters and storylines for a final battle for survival. I think this is their plan. I genuinely believe the plan is to create this storyline, a CRM versus Commonwealth, and that it's going to end in one final series that's a big explosive event, and I think that will be the end for a while, and then maybe they'll do a reboot. That's honestly probably what's going to happen. So I think ChatGPT's got some interesting ideas here. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you have any other ideas for ChatGPT related videos, maybe we can write a full episode or something. Let me know what you guys think. I would love to hear your ideas here, and be sure to stay subscribed because we are going to be reviewing all of the Walking Dead spinoffs as they come out. Thursday we got the brand new season, the final season of Fear the Walking Dead, so I'm looking forward to that, and I hope to see you guys there. But with that, it's been your boy Shuggy. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace out.